So today on Legend in the Game on Media City Radio, we take a moment to pause and honor not just a legend in photography, but a true man of God, a pillar of his community, and someone who light up impact everyone blessed enough to know him. On April 30th, we lost Jojo Robinson, a son, a father, a husband, a minister, and without a doubt, one of the greatest photographers to ever walk the face of the earth. But to me, he was more than all of that. He was my birthday twin, my brother in Christ, my mentor, and one of my closest friends. So today, we're going to honor and do a tribute to his life. I'm joined in the studio today with Chanel Fields and Tiger Wilson. Thank you guys for coming here today and to share what Jojo meant to you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure to be here, my brother.
I wanted Chanel to lead us in prayer.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to show love and continue to spread love as we celebrate the life of Joseph Jojo Robinson. We ask that even now, in moments where people often forget very fast when we lose loved ones, that his legacy will continue, that the life and light of Jojo Robinson will continue on in our hearts forever. We ask that you cover the minds of his wife, of his children, of his family, and everyone attached to Jojo. And bless us, God. Give us grace on today as we go forth in our humanity to celebrate Jojo. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. So, Tiger,
Yes, sir.
how did you meet Jojo?
It's crazy because I met JoJo years ago. I can't exactly remember how we met, but I know it's through music and, photography. But if I could recall the time that we really had got solid was when I was doing like talent shows back in the days.
Okay.
And I had a little group. And it's so funny, one of the group members was this guy named, his name is Gerald, but they call him Black. From
Okay.
CCP, Black and Moon.
Oh, Black and Moon.
Yeah. So we had this little group together, whatever, and my boy partnered us together. And with that being said, Joe took a liking to Black, and Black, they was rapping at the time too.
Right.
So they was like, yo, who do the music? Who do the voice room? So Joe's like, yo, that's what's up. So with that being said, ever since then, it was, we talk about music and everything, but it's a lot led on from that point on. A lot had led, you know what I'm saying, from that mark of knowing him. I do music, I'm into dancing, this and this and this, and it was a rap ever since then.
I mean, he used to talk about you all the time, every time I saw him. So you definitely had an impact on his life, man.
Yeah.
So I remember you told me that he was like, he wanted to find a church girl.
Yeah, well, that's years later. In the beginning, it was just all about music and videos. You know what I'm saying? When he found, when him and Rhonda found, he found Rhonda because when he found the good thing, he found the good thing. But that was years later because Jojo, everybody knows, like I say, is a good brother from day one, and he always used to come over to my crib. And at the time, my mom, everybody who knows my mother, she's a well-known Christian, sanctified, saved woman. So if you come in her presence, you're going to hear nothing but the word of God all day, every day. And he took a liking to my mom because my mom used to always pray for us before we leave or say something encouraging. And with that being said, Joe wasn't really, at the beginning, was a believer like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was always a good person, always, had,
Pray hard.
Yeah, pray hard a whole lot, but he didn't really understand the Bible. So my mom really broke it down to him, used to talk. And it's crazy because he used to come to my house sometimes. I'd be like, you be having Bible study, nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then from that point on, like I said, he was entering his church, and he was trying to find a church home. And so happy when he met Rhonda, that was a blessing because of my mom introducing Christ to him the way she did. You know what I'm saying? It was like an eye-opening. He wanted to learn more about him, and then he was searching for a church at that time. It's so funny, when he met Rhonda, Rhonda knew me, Rhonda knew my family. He called me probably the next day, like, yo, you know Rhonda? You know what I'm saying? Like, asking me questions about it. I was like, I know her brother, you know what I'm saying? Went to school, we know people from the same church family. And it was history from there, you know what I'm saying? But that's how that really happened. But it's so much, like I said, could tell so much. Me and Joe got history way before he even got married. Like the places we went, the things we seen, traveling. It's crazy.
Do you have a favorite moment?
The craziest moment we had was, I think we went to, we was in Delaware. No, not Delaware. Was it Delaware? Yeah, Delaware. We was, here we go again. I'm in the music, and he's doing photography. Independent artist. We was working with out of Cali, and so happily the person that was financing everything, they had a place in Delaware, the studio set up, photography set up, and we was there for like weeks, days we used to stay. And one day Joe was like, "Yo, I'm ready to go home." You know what I'm saying? Because he done took all the pictures he could take, do. And he was like, "Yo, stop recording, yo. Let's stop. let's go back to Jersey real quick." You know what I'm saying?
You got tired quick.
Now, not that is the fact that because he was such a visionary, he did his work what he wanted to do there, so he wanted to do, because he was taking pictures of me in the studio, he taking pictures of the artists, they did a photo shoot, you know what I'm saying? But the point is, he wanted to go back because he loved New York City. And the point is, when we go to New York, sometimes we'll just go to New York. We'll go to New York, it'll be just for doing something shopping. Mm-hmm. We want, if he found somebody, he doing a whole photo shoot on them.
Somebody's calling in.
Paper towel.
So, he'll go to New York, and before you
Hello?
know it, we doing a photo shoot. So, with that being said, Joe always been like you
Hello?
said, visionary. He could see things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on 1 minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, you did.
So if I could tap into the weigh-in, it's funny how things come full circle, right? And because you never know the pieces, you just know where you fit in the puzzle, right? But Jojo, that's one of the things he wanted. He really wanted someone that could lead him to Christ, right? And Joe, I never knew he was into wanting to know God really either until much, much later, because I just knew him as a great person who I had the opportunity to live with, and I'll share a little bit about that later. But the funny thing about it was with Jojo, with that whole process, I remember the day he met Rhonda, because he called me, and he said, he and she may even share it with you momentarily, but they met at McDonald's.
Wow.
They met at McDonald's, and shout out to my cousin Red and Nene, and she had Nene with her, and she punked him. She punked him. She might tell it different, but she punked him and told him to buy her daughter a fish sandwich. And this is JoJo's words. She might not have punked him, but according to JoJo, he said, she punked me, man.
Yeah, I know how JoJo is.
She punked me. He said, I met this girl. Yeah, I fell in love, and she punked me. I said, you in love? He said, yeah, I met this girl at McDonald's. I said, come on, son, come on. He said, I'm for real. I met this girl in McDonald's, man. And she punked me and made me buy her daughter a fish sandwich. I said, did you buy the fish sandwich? Yeah, I bought the fish sandwich. He was like, I want to see more of her, man. I want to see more of her. He was like, because she got a light. She got that thing. I was like, what thing? And I was like, okay, JoJo. He was like, nah. And the very next day that he called me, he talked about her again and again. And throughout the duration of our entire friendship, that was the light of his life. I remember when she was pregnant with Madison. I remember when she was pregnant with Dylan. And I remember how JoJo lit up about the idea, because he loved the children. He loved the community. But I remember how he lit up with joy, just knowing, he's like, man, my soldiers still marching around. They running. And he was just so funny. And I just loved that for them. And he told me, I remember when he told me he was getting married. He said, I'm marrying her, man. I said, for real?
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I said, what separated her from everybody else? And the thing that touched me, that never left me, he said, I was looking for the woman who would bring me to God.
Wow.
He said,
Amen.
and Rhonda brought me to God. He said, and when Rhonda brought me to God, I knew that I had finally found my good thing.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I never forget that. And Joe, he never let me forget it, because he would tell me the story. I ever tell you about the time I met Rhonda? He like Benjamin Button.
Yeah. Oh,
I ever tell you about the time I said, yeah, man. But the story was always so beautiful, because through that lens, we talking about his lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
He let me see him in so many pieces of his lens. Although he wasn't in front of the camera as much, he was in front of our camera
Yeah.
all the time. And leaving it on that note right there, I just want to take the time to introduce a precious gem, that has been in his life for a couple of decades now, and that's none other than Rhonda Rogers Robinson, aka Red.
Welcome to the show, Rhonda.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Hi. Just first, I just want to thank you all for, just for doing this. This is, just makes my heart smile. Just knowing how loved Joe was beyond us. So thank you all for taking the time to put this together and to honor him and talk about him and give people the opportunity to do that. But Chanel, he did not tell that story right. When we met in McDonald's, he walked up to me while I was online ordering food,
Sound
and he
like him.
walked up to me and whispered in my ear, order me a fish sandwich. And I look back like whatever, because I'm like, who is this guy walking up on me like he know me and whispering in my ear telling me to order him food? So he was like, oh, no, 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 I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna pay for you and your daughter food too. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I went ahead and ordered the sandwich, and we just stood in McDonald's for about a good 30 minutes talking, exchanged phone numbers, and then pretty much literally have been together ever since. And that was
Mm-hmm.
back in August of 2004. And who would have thought that, just walking in the McDonald's that one day in 2004 would lead me to 20 something years together with him, with two beautiful children and all of
Mm-hmm.
the experiences that we were able to experience together.
So beautiful.
Joe was, as you guys clearly know, Joe was a great person. He had a great heart. He loved everybody. It didn't matter, who you are, how you look, how you smell, where you're from. He just was a good person and loved people. And I'm just grateful that I was able to, be where I was when I was. Our life
Yes.
together, as any marriage, we, has not been perfect the whole 19 years, but I can truly say that our good days outweighed our bad days. He was a great husband. He was a wonderful father. Um, and I'm just, trying not to talk too much and too long because I'm already, I can feel my throat on fire, trying not to cry.
It's
But
okay.
again, I just thank you all for loving him and wanting to honor him in this moment and just giving people the opportunity, just giving people the opportunity to share the stories and just being able to see how loved he was and how respected he was. It just makes it a tiny bit easier, to deal with what's going on and know that, my husband wasn't one that a lot of people um like he just wasn't one of those people that people couldn't stand, just to see how many people loved him and respected him and appreciated the things that he did for them, because Joe was not one to do things for people for payment.
Yeah.
He
Right.
wasn't one to do things for people with an eye like you owe me now. He was just that type of
Genuine.
person that he just
Genuine.
wanted
Super
to help people.
genuine.
But he was very genuine. He had a genuine heart for people, and plenty of times throughout our relationship, if we had arguments about people, it was me telling him, you do too much for people. You put yourself out there too much for people. Don't let people take advantage of you. But he always would tell me, Rhonda, I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing, and and if somebody's going to take advantage of me or use me, then that's between them and God. That's not going to stop me from having a good heart. And it did not stop him from having a good heart, because he's done photography for people for free. He's done,
Weddings.
given, I've seen him,
Yes.
he's done weddings and sweet 16s and different things like that for free, and he showed up for people's kids in ways that their own dads didn't show up for them. And I've seen him give his very last to people. And Joe was also one of the type of people that he would give you
The shirt off
literally
his
the
back.
shirt off his
Yeah.
back. If he
Yeah.
if he
Yep.
had something that I've seen him take his coat, a person, and say, "Oh, Joe, I like that jacket." He would take off that jacket and say, "Here, you can have it."
I witnessed that
He did that.
firsthand. I
He
witnessed that firsthand too. So that's all facts.
Yes, and he's, even when I have a nephew with special needs, and they had a special bond. And when he would see my nephew, and my nephew would see him, he would like, he would be so excited. They would be excited to see each other, and my nephew would be like, "Oh, I love that shirt." And Jojo would say, "You know what?" He took off his shirt and say, "Here, this shirt is yours now." Or he just was a genuinely good person. And
Yes.
again, I miss him like crazy. I never in a million years would think that this would be where we are right now. And I just truly, although I miss him, I do thank God because, God gave me the opportunity to spend time with him up until it's up until he passed away. So I was able to let him, he knew, but I was able to let him know how much I loved him. He was able to tell me how much he loved me and the children. And I was just pretty much able to spend those last hours with him, and I'm thankful to God for that, because he didn't have to do that for us.
Right.
And just again, I don't want to hold up the line, but I just want to again thank you, Felix, Tiger, Chanel, for taking the time out to remember him, and allowing other people to, just allow his life to still live on in the days, and the years to come, that he won't be forgotten for who he was and the things that he did. So thank you guys so much.
No, it's an honor. It's an honor. My prayers are with you and the kids. Anything you ever need, like I told you before, even with Dylan, if he wants to come to the studio or anything, he's always welcome. Your husband meant the world to me. I wouldn't be the man or photographer I am today without him. So you would always have my 100% support.
I
And
appreciate it.
there's no need to thank me. Like I told you, in the text, like that's the least I could do. And you could take your time, just for the record. Don't worry about anybody else. You could speak as long as you like.
Right.
Is there without trying to upset you? Is there one like your fondest memory with Joe you like to share?
Sure. The fondest memory is back when we met back in 2004. I remember, like, as we were getting to know each other, we would like he liked to go to Passaic County Community College library, so we would sometime go there just for him to kind of just really he would just go look at the photography magazines. That was something he liked to do. Like anywhere we went that had magazines, he would find himself looking at the photography magazines. So we would often go to the community college to look at the magazines. And I remember, we was talking about me at that time. I was still in school. I was out a student at the college, and he was asking me about school. And I said, well, he said, when does school start back? I said, well, it start back in September, but I'm not going to go in September. I'm going to take a semester off and go back in the next semester. And he was like, well, why are you going to take a semester off instead of going, keep going? I said, because I have a balance on my account, and I don't I don't have it, so I'm saving my money, and when my semester, and for the next semester when it comes back up, I'll finish my classes. So he was like, oh, okay, I understand that. So like 2 days later, he was like, oh, let's go to the college. I want to look at the magazines again. So we went to the college, but this time he walked past the library. So I'm like, where you going? He was like, oh, I want to go down here for a minute. So we walked down the hall, and he was like, okay, he was like, how much is your tuition? Let's pay your tuition so you can take your class. And I'm looking at him. Like I said, we had just met. We had just met. And I said, what are you talking about? He was like, I'm not going to let you take off a semester. If that's your last semester, you almost finished. Then
Dope,
here, let's go pay your tuition,
dope.
and so you can take your class. And that day, again, only knowing me for a few weeks, he paid my tuition so that I can finish my class in school. And then even since then, that was when I got my associate's degree. He has been my support and pushing me in
Mm,
education from the
dope.
time that I got my associates, even when I was, went to school for my bachelor's. He was pushing me, and with the times that I wanted to quit, he was the one telling me, no, I got the kids, don't worry about it. Don't, you just do this and do that. And then, even when I went for my master's, and every step of the way, he was always supportive of me. It did not matter what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. He was always the one telling me, Rhonda, you can do it. You're so smart. You're so talented. Like, he was my number one cheerleader.
Vonda, let me tell you, everything you saying, I can co-sign it because as you're saying it, it's like my mind is going down memory lane because he would call me and like day one, he told me from day one, and I love that girl. You know, so often it's like even when you got on his nerves with the cooking and stuff, and when you brought all the equipment to the house, the dental equipment, I know you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
He was like, he talked about that. He was like, but I'm so proud of her. He's like, man, Ronnie be making me mad, yo. He said, but I'm so proud of her. I love, man, I love, and he would always close it out with, I love that girl, though. He'd complain, and then he'd talk about how he loved that girl. I love that girl. And I know for a fact from day one, like you said, there's no anything that's perfect, whether it's being a parent, whether it's being a husband, a wife, whatever. Nothing's perfect. But I love the fact that he always said, "But I love that girl." That will forever etch in my heart. That's why I think about you so often because I'm like, I know that I know that I know that I know. Some things we're not sure of, and some things we're absolutely certain of. And my soul is absolutely certain that he loves you because the day he met you was the day he told me, and he never stopped talking about Rhonda. Never. The only thing he had it on was the kids. That was it. But he never stopped talking about you, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
Well, since you want to reflect on stories real quick,
Okay.
I don't know if Rhonda remember this part, but she was working in a dental office. I could be correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was in what's over there by the old Pathmark,
Glen Rock in
Glen
Glen
Rock.
Rock.
Yes, you know JoJo. He didn't at the time. Well, I don't know if he still had license or not. But I was the driver. I was the Uber driver for JoJo back in our day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, y'all gotta take Rhonda some lunch. I want to surprise her. I want to see it. I don't know if you remember this. He's like, as if I didn't know who Rhonda was. I think I picked you up, or either I brought him over there to you, to Glen Rock, and he was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. You see, my girl gonna be something. She gonna be like, he was always talking about
Hyping
you.
her up.
Yeah, hyping you up in a good way. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, I ain't but be honest with you, back then you can't drive through certain parts of the area. I'm not even going through Glen Rock. He like, yo, come on, man, we good. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I remember those like that moment. That's how special you meant to him. Like because for him to say, yo, so let's stop what we doing real quick. Let me take my girl's mother. Let me make sure she okay.
Okay.
That was he really cared for you, and that was in the
Thank you.
beginning.
Yeah, and it never stopped. He would always make sure I was okay in those ways.
It's funny because he was. Quick story. The first time I did a photo shoot with my wife, which was with my wife that day, Jojo said to her, how much is Philly's charging you to do the shoot? And she goes, nothing's a test shoot. He goes, oh, he likes you. He likes you because he charged everybody for photo shoots. And then ironically, a few weeks later, I was assaulted and robbed. And when he came to check on me, he saw, Consuelo there. And when he saw her there, like, nursing me and, like, making sure I was okay, he goes, you're going to marry that girl.
That's what's up.
And he was right. 22 years later, we're still together. So it's like, that was just how Joe was. He was just an amazing person. Chanel, did you have any other stories you'd like to share or how you met Joe?
Sure. I want to ask you how you met JoJo now.
Oh, you want to ask me? Oh, boy. That one is, we'll be here for a second. But JoJo was the first person that I met when I moved to Patterson when I was 21. I'm originally, from Bergen County. I lived a little bit everywhere, Inglewood, Hackensack, Bergenfield. And I was, when I moved to Patterson, it was like unfamiliar territory for me. So he was the first, I met him downtown by Broadway Pizza. He was with Polo, rest in peace, Polo. And he saw me with a camera and he's like, you take pictures? And I said, yeah, I'm just starting, I'm learning and all that stuff. And then, we exchanged numbers and, we just started hanging out because at the time, you said it was North 4th,
Fifth.
right? 5th. I said North 4th, but you said North 5th.
Okay.
And I used to live on North 9th on 243 Clayton.
Mm-hmm.
And, every time, I walked down that way, I would pass by his house or he'll come by me. And then we just, we started working together. And I remember he had sent me a while back, like our first business card where one side had my information and the other side had his.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
And we used to just shoot like different parties and things that, whether it was Cheetahs, I forgot the spot on Main Street in Passaic.
Yeah, up on top of the roof.
Yes, and he would do all the Polaroids and I would do the photography part of it, and which the crazy part is, all through all that time, he got mad at me one day because he goes, bro, you don't love me, B. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, because I haven't seen you on my birthday. And I go, when's your birthday? He goes, June 11th. I'm like, bro, that's my birthday. You know what I'm saying? So like y'all laughing now. That's he just started laughing right away, and he said, "Oh, that's why I never see you on your birthday." So I remember from that point on, we did a birthday. The first one was at Cheetahs in Patterson, which actually, ironically, was the last thing he sent me. He sent me a flyer from that day, and he was like, "I love you more, bro." And that was unfortunately the last text that we had together. But he always made sure I was good. He took me to all different parts, Patterson, and the city embraced me like I was from Patterson. And they always showed me love, even though I won't lie, I was scared at times. It would be CCP, Alabama, 12th Ave, 10th Ave. He's like, bro, you good. You with me. Everybody loved me. You know what I mean? So, it's funny because he witnessed a lot of, I guess you could say, lows in life, because he always used to be like, yo, your baby mama crazy. He was like, we were going to do a all-white party, right? Three Stooges. And Joe came to meet me downtown. I'm like, we're about to go. And my baby mama was just like, you think you're cute? And threw a whole gallon of fruit punch all over my white clothes.
Wow.
And I remember going back to Joe's house trying to clean it up. And then the whole night he just kept laughing because everybody be like, why do you got red stains on your clothes, right? Because downtown was closed already. Couldn't go buy nothing. We were late for the event.
Stuck.
So, exactly. So he was just like, the whole night, he just, every time someone asked, he just started cracking up and laughing. He's like, because he got a crazy baby mama.
Part of his outfit.
Right?
That's what I was trying to say. And then, like I always say, that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's supposed to be that way. So it didn't matter. He taught me how to hustle, like, because at that time I used to work for a private ambulance company. So I would go by his house, pick him up, and I was, at the time, working for Don Diva magazine, and he was like, bro, I'm going to sell all these magazines for you, but I'm going to double the price. I'm going to keep some money for me, and then I'm going to give you what you asked for. And we would go around everywhere in the ambulance just selling magazines and stuff like that, man. So, and, it's crazy because, a few weeks before he passed, he was like, yo, bro, I can't wait to come on the podcast. So I could tell how scared to death you was when Mike Tyson almost knocked you out. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, he remembered his story so vividly, even more than I did.
Wow.
Yeah, I could see him smiling and laughing through the phone because he was like, bro, it was so funny.
You
and
can
I'm
tell
like,
us the story?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was crazy. But long story short, we were shooting Lenny the Barber's Vida Vegas party at the Roxy. Mm-hmm. And Mike walks in, and I go, oh, I'm going to take a picture of Mike. And Mike says, I'm not taking no pictures tonight. I said, okay, no problem, champ. Big fan, much love. So all of a sudden, a little bit later, Lenny comes up, and Lenny's like, yo, you take a picture of Champ? And I'm like, Champ said he ain't taking pictures. He says, hold on 1 minute. So he was like, yo, Champ, take a pic, right? So I go, oh, she said, okay. So I take a picture with him and his sister Jackie, and then you know how that goes. You take one picture, everybody starts jumping.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's jumping in the pictures. I'm not reading there's body language. So all of a sudden, I'm done taking it, and I try to walk away, and all of a sudden I felt someone grab my hands, my arm so hard, and all I saw was this fist coming at me, and Joe said my spirit left my body right at that moment. That's what he laughs about all the time. He's like, you were bro your face, and he's like, your spirit jumped out of you, and then his bodyguard grabbed his arm.
Oh, wow.
So I give Joe the camera, and I walk as far as humanly possible to the end of the club, like way at the end, like where the fire exits was. And I just sat there for like 15, 20 minutes, like I saw a ghost, and Joe was just like, never let me live it down. And the worst part was we came in my baby mother's car, right? And the car gets towed.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, "Oh, you almost got knocked out by Mike Tyson, but you know when you get home, your baby mama gonna knock you out. She's gonna kill your ass."
Oh my goodness.
So we just he just always love to bring up those stories, man. And again, I want to be, man. Another thing, he's always health conscious. So he was like, "Bro, you gotta stop eating that pork, right?" And 30, about almost 30 years I haven't ate pork because of Jojo.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, "Nah, bro, we're going straight. We leave the club and go to straight street chicken shack, and we just get chicken sandwich." He's like, "Yo, no pork for you, bro. That's it." And I haven't ate pork ever since then because again, Joe, that's how Joe was.
How long has that been?
Almost 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, I won't lie, I used to love Benny's sandwiches and fried pork chops, but because of Joe, I don't eat none of that.
Wow.
Yeah, every time someone try to give me, I'm like, "Nah, bro." He's like, "See, that's why you have ulcers and that's why you have stomach problems, 'cause you eating pork.
Right.
I bet you get rid of that stuff, you won't have those issues."
Right.
And he was right. He was right. But I mean, one of my proudest moments was, when, like you guys said, like how he talked about Rhonda when he was like, "Bro, I'm getting married and I want you to be one of the, photographers at my wedding." And from him, like I said, meeting him to him, teaching me a lot of photography. I always told him if I would have met him 2 years earlier, he would have saved my mom a lot of money for college. You know what I'm saying? Because I learned way more from Joe than I ever did from school. Yeah, and even to this day, like when people be like, "Yo, why do your pictures look like they're Photoshopped when you shoot outside?" Because there's a tip that Joe taught me. It was like 250 f14 quarter power. I never forgot. And that's why the pictures look like they always pop.
Right.
But that's just how Joe was. He just always try to help others and teach others, and he would always. The good thing is I feel at peace because I know I gave him his flowers multiple times.
Oh yes.
Multiple times when he'd be like, "Bro, you the GOAT," and I'd be like, "Nah, bro, I learned from one." You know what I mean? So, and when he would call me, FaceTime me, from work, just to show his friends like the studio or some of the photography I did, he was just always proud of me. And I'm gonna miss him dearly, man. So, but that's how I met him.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I met Jojo through Andrea. Shout out to Iris. And oh yeah. Hey y'all. I met Jojo through Iris. She was taking pictures for Jojo. At the time, Jojo was her photographer. And I was about 15 at the time. And Jojo was like, "Y'all little girls always want to be grown." When we used to go downtown, I don't know if you remember the store across the street diagonally from Broadway Pizza. And you could go and take backgrounds in New York, Brooklyn,
Where they sell the
graffiti.
jewelry
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that,
yeah. And you could get the fake IDs because that's what we was there for. We was there for the fake IDs to get into the cheapest. So, Joe, he knew what we were up to. He's like, "Y'all little girls always trying to be fast. Y'all always trying to be bad." He's like, "Yo, come here." He's like, "Let me take your picture." So we stand on the gate and, we like, posting up and doing pictures. And Iris is naturally beautiful. Like she's just naturally beautiful, like a ray of sunshine. And he would do her pictures. And I was like, "Oh my God, this came out great." And I was like, and he would use different cameras. And I said, "Yo, why you using that camera? Why you just didn't use the other one for everything?" He was like, "Nah, man. You know what this is? Don't touch that." I was like, "What? What's up with the camera?" He was like, "This right here is a Hasselblad," which was it became my favorite camera. Like it really became my favorite camera. And he showed me the difference. Back then, you could develop the picture and the film and everything, and Jojo was into it. That's the first. He leads to so many pathways in my life. Yes. He stitched in so much of the fabric, but that was my first opportunity to learn negatives and positive reflection and photo film. AKA, me and Rhonda both have a history of dental, a long-standing history of dental. So that was my first pathway into the introduction of film itself, understanding film. And he taught me everything about a photograph or radiograph, if you will, and film and how it looks in the negatives. And I was like, oh, I fell in love with negatives. I was like, "Oh, Jojo, look at this one. Oh, this the picture where blah, blah, blah." So he was like, "Yeah, Hasselblad will do that for you. It'll make the crisp sharpness stand out." And you of course, And then my next favorite camera, which he was photographing Iris on, was a medium format. Now that is my end all be all. If I ever find one, I'm gonna get it again. But he, he showed me the differences between those two, and I fell in love with those cameras. And I was like, well, take my picture with that. So he started taking it, and then we would walk past his house. I was like, yo, Jojo, you got my pictures, man? Like, trying to punk him a little bit. He was like, man, relax. He was like, I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it today. So it led us to have to come back to Jojo's house. And so from there, that was the relationship with him, because that first day he made you feel so comfortable. You felt like you knew him for 1,000 years. So we would talk to him any old kind of way, not realizing Jojo was like our elder. He was way older than us.
Never looked his
didn't-
age.
Yeah, but I thought he was just one of us, because his laid back, relaxed demeanor always kept you so comfortable that you just felt comfortable. But he like, yo, what y'all getting into? So periodically, Jojo was always walking somewhere. He was always walking for many, many years. I never even saw him drive for a long time. He was just walking. He loved to walk. And so I said, where you going? He said, I'm going to New York. I said, I want to go to New York.
Be in
He's
nature
like,
the fashion district.
yo, I'm about to go there. It's like, I said, I want to go to New York. He's like, man, he's like, you gotta get permission. I ain't taking you to New York. You gotta ask permission. I was like, my mother won't care. I could go to New York. He's like, yo, you gotta ask permission. So I was like, Mom, can I go to New York with Jojo? And my mother was like, she didn't care. So Jojo's like, yo, this B&H. So he took me to B&H. I didn't realize it was more than one B&H. I was like, bruh. He's like, this one ain't got the lens. We got to go to the other one. So we were all over New York going to get lenses for this camera. He's like, I got to get another lens. And so that continued for years. Finally, I got a car. Jojo like, take me to B&H. I remember one day, to your point, we went to B&H probably 3 times in one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, Jojo, what didn't you see there that you didn't see early this morning? He's like, yo, because I forgot about this and I forgot about that.
Well, I
But
forgot to get film.
he was just that way. And so time went on, and I grew up. I went on my own way. And one day I saw Jojo when I had came back home to New Jersey. I had went to the military for a while, but I came back home to New Jersey, and I had an apartment. And my apartment, unbeknown to me, caught on fire. Okay, and there was nothing left but the ashes and the water damage, and I had nothing. And so I was like, well, what do you do in a situation like that? So everybody on the street was like, at the time I lived on Butler Street, and everybody was like, I don't know, man. I feel sorry for you, man. That's what's up. And I had my son, my oldest son, Amir, at the time. I didn't have any other children. And Jojo, I had went to, someone told me to go to welfare, that they can help you, you can set up with the Red Cross, get on a hotel, and like just trying to take all of that in. It was so hard, because I'm like, I got my child, I had him at 17, so it was like, it was just a lot. It was a lot. And I went to welfare, I went to Catholic Family Charities. I was trying to figure out this thing of what they do for you if you are in need, but you're not on welfare. Like, what do you do? Like, for somebody in the fire. And I was so frustrated. I started heading back to my car. I said, I just need a minute. And as I'm coming back down the street, Jojo was coming from the direction of the courthouse. And he was like, what's up, stranger? I was like, oh, what up, Joe? Like, I really wasn't in the mood to, like, talk to nobody. I really didn't want to even be friendly in that moment, because I was just frustrated. Like, I have nothing other than what I got on my back. And I said to Jojo, he was like, what's up with you? You ain't all smiley and sassy today? I was like, nah, man. He was like, where little man? Where's big head at? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, he's with my mom and them. He's like, oh, okay. So what's going on? Why your face like that? He was like, smile. Say ha, ha, ha. I'm like, Joe, not now. He was like, what's going on? I'm like, my apartment caught on fire. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. He's like, what you gonna do? I was like, I'm trying to figure out this thing, with like Red Cross. I don't know. I was like, I really don't know. I was like, but I just gotta figure it out. And before I knew it, I just burst into tears, and I was crying. And he was like, yo, man, easy with the waterworks. Easy with the waterworks. I'm like, he always wanted to make a joke to lighten up like everything. He was like, I tell you what you could do. He's like, you could come stay with me. I was like, yeah. I said, well, what about my son? He was like, well, you got to bring him too, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, you could come stay with me. And his family literally took me in. They made sure that I got everything that I needed for my son, to the point of we lived there. Jojo, he cooked for us. I never knew what it was like, what the taste of grilled chicken tastes like. We grew up with fried chicken or baked chicken. But Joe, he was the first to show me that George Foreman grill. He was like, yo, I'm gonna make you something. You man, your son gonna love this. He gonna love this. And I watched him and my son eat it first. And then I was like, oh, okay. He was like, man, it's chicken. You eat chicken? And so I tasted it. He was the first person to get me to eat the grilled chicken salad. And I was like, yo, I never stopped liking it after that. I was like, yo, this is fantastic, Joe.
Health conscious.
I was just about to say that.
You know,
always being health conscious.
But his family, him, like Joe, he put me to work too. He was like, I know you home. We thank you for your service. But he opened up shop. Dave, his brother, they had like this T-shirt business that they put in the living room. Every part of the house was another workforce area.
Yep.
So if it wasn't photography, you know, you
Yep.
been in the house. Photography was in the basement. Music was somewhere in the kitchen area. The front was T-shirts. It was crazy. And so he's like, look, I was like, oh, I like this one right here. He was the first person to show me how to do Photoshop. You know, on the original Apple Bubble, the G3. And
Oh man, if I show you the original computer that he gave me, y'all laugh. You think that was like a video game system?
It looked ancient, right? Yeah. And he showed me how to do everything on there. He was like, look, I'm gonna put you to work. He was like, every shirt you sell, that's your money. Like you could keep that and that's your money. As what I didn't realize, like down to the years now, is his level of genius when it came to entrepreneurship. His level,
his hustle, man. That's what I told you. He taught me that.
And then his tutelage. Joe was a teacher. He really was a teacher. Like without you even knowing it, God blessed him with a gift to be so subtle that he would envelop into you so that you could develop. You know what I'm saying? And before you knew it, you had already developed. And you knew that you can do T-shirts. You knew that you can take pictures. Like he would tell me, hold this button. This is aperture. This is the light. This is, whatever. But he would teach you without you even realize you were getting a lesson that would carry you throughout life. So for me, that's my story of Jojo. And I have so many other memories. But if we go 30 years, we ain't never going home, So, but yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory?
My favorite memory was when he saved my life.
Say less.
Wow.
That's what's up.
Yep.
He was definitely a giver, yo.
Yeah, man.
Definitely a giver.
Definitely.
Because everything could have went way downhill from there.
He was always a protector. Like I said, like I said earlier, man, I would go in most neighborhoods that people were scared to go to, and he'd be like, "You're good, bro. You could come back even without me. Watch." And after that, like the few times after that, I would go back and try to, sell the magazines or the pictures, and I felt comfortable because of him.
I remember when he put us together, and we were on top of that roof. I was
Passaic.
deaf. I was like,
Yeah,
look,
Passaic.
man, I don't know about this right here. He's like, Felix got us. I remember when he introduced me to Felix. He's like, this is my man's right here. You gotta be friends with him. He's like, you like white people? He's like, I'm not white.
I know that. He always used
crazy,
to say that.
man.
I'm like, bro, I'm Puerto Rican. You know that, right?
Yeah.
He said, well, your mom's Italian. I'm like, yo, she's half Italian, half Puerto Rican. He always say that.
Oh my God.
He said, well, you need some sun at least because you pale.
Jojo always spoke his mind.
And that was another thing about Joe, though. He connect people together.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm quite sure even when you had your spot in Passaic, when I had a little group, you know what I'm saying, he brought us down there.
But like you said, the Uber driver, because that's how I always, every time he would come to visit me, you was with him because he was driving him.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I met you multiple times because he was always driving him.
Yep, always. And that's like that's it, because we was cool like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the type of dude, I'm hustling, he hustling. I'm going to New York, I'm going to New York too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you got to understand, at that time, yo, like, I don't know if you remember this time, but Joe always used to wear them cowboy boots sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Oh,
Yo,
yes.
we used to go to New York, and I'm like, yo, how you be walking all the time? Like, get some sneakers.
He love them boots.
He used to wear cowboy boots all the time with the jeans, with the long dress.
And I know his wife was
dreads.
chiming in on that at the service about his fashion sense.
But see, that's the thing about Joe. Like, he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do me, 'cause this is me. Like I'm
Yeah.
stands out." And he wasn't even trying it. It's just that's how he was. Like I knew Joe so many parts of life. His life. I told somebody before. I knew when he had no dreads, to growing dreads, to long dreads,
To
to
no
bald
hair.
head, to I
All
knew
of it.
the whole thing.
Yo, not to cut you off, but that's why I'm so glad my dad took this video, but the video that I shared on social media when he surprised me for my birthday 3 years ago, that's why they recognize him, because that was the first time I seen him without dreads.
Yeah.
And that's why when you see him looking at him like weird, and then I'm like, when I realized it was him, you know what I'm saying? That's why you see how we embraced it. And he was like, happy birthday. I'm like, happy birthday. I told him happy birthday. And I told my dad, I'm like, you never ever take pictures or video or nothing.
And he caught that.
And you caught that moment. So I'm eternally grateful that he did that, because you could see the love and the bond and the respect that we have for one another. You know, so I still can't believe he's not here.
Can I just interject about those cowboy
Yeah, I was just about
cowboy
to.
boots?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you to chime in on that. You read my mind.
Those cowboy boots.
Boots on the ground.
Well, as we all know, he was a very unique dresser. And one thing about Joe was not the type of person to,
Follow.
like he was not a crowd follower.
Exactly.
He was going to do what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it, and it didn't matter if you liked it or not.
Facts.
Which I loved about him. He was very carefree. And he had his cowboy boot era for a long time, and like I said before, like the kids, we like his style was so unique, and certain things we'll be looking at him like, Joe, please don't wear that. Like, please don't wear that. And he like, y'all don't know no better. Y'all don't know no better. Y'all don't know no better. This nice. And I'm like, please don't wear it. But he will wear it anyway.
Yeah.
And then later on, when we get home, he'll say, Rhonda, I can't tell you how many people like my outfit. I told you that.
And then he'll go somewhere with you, and then he'll ask somebody in front of you, "Yo, what you think about these boots?"
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Hey man,
Yeah.
what you think about these boots?
And don't get him in a thrift store. Don't get him in a thrift store and get him started. Because if he sees stuff in a thrift store, he could put.
You'll be there forever. You'll be there forever.
Yeah.
It's funny when you said that, because I remember we was in New York and by Times Square, and how they had the naked cowboys. So I was joking, I said, "You gonna be the black one?" Because you stay with those cowboy boots.
He was serious, boy. Like I said, Joe was walking for real with boots on.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, your feet don't hurt.
Nope.
He be like, nah, these are comfortable.
Never complain about it.
I'm like, I don't know. I ain't gonna try out. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Can I ask Rhonda a question?
Sure.
Hello, Rhonda. How you doing? This is Tiger. How you doing?
All right.
Quick question. When Joe, it's a serious question. When Joe started coming to church, and I'm quite sure you seen the change in him. Did you realize like the man that he was going to be, like, because he was headed like the ministry, like he was into the Bible seriously. Like, how did you guys like? Basically, I'm just trying to say, like, did you showed him more when he came to Christ? Like, introduce him, like, because when I met him, like I said, he was new. He was trying to learn the Bible, and I kept telling him, like, yo, you gotta ask my mom. And he was so interested into it. So I'm just curious, because when I came to the church, I used to come to y'all church. He used to have his like you say, you be in that corner, stumping the ground.
his feet.
Yeah, that ground. He loved God so much, and I'm quite sure you had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, Holy Tabernacle.
Yeah, and your brother.
Yeah.
I know y'all had a lot, the whole family. But I just say that to say this because I see the change in Joe when I met, when
For sure.
from that era. And I guess my question is like, did you notice the change, like when you first met, like this guy really want to know about God, like he was like asking a lot of questions to my mom.
Yes, I definitely saw a big change in him as the time went by, because when he first started, when we met, of course, that was one of the first things he knew about me, that, church is who I am, who I am. So that was no, like, you're going to date me, you're going to come to church with me, So he's immediately, no hesitation, he just started coming to church with me from day one. And the day that he joined the church, Elder Snowden was preaching, and the message was the wages of sin is death.
Wow.
And that day, Joe stood up and joined the church. And before he stood up, he was like, "I'm gonna stand up and join the church." And I said to him, I said, "Make sure you want to do it for yourself." I said, "Don't do it for me. Don't join the church for me. Join because you want to join." And he was like, "No, no, I really want to join." So he stood up and joined the church that day. And then later on that day when we talked, and I asked him again. I said, "I really hope that you didn't join this church for me." I said, "Because if we don't work out, I don't want to be the reason you stop coming to church." And he was like, "No, I did not do it for you." He said the man, he didn't know Elder at that moment. He was like, the man preached, and he said the wages of sin is death. And he said, "And I don't want to live the life that I've been living and die and go to hell." So that's when he joined, that was
Amen.
the day he joined the church. So as time went by, like obviously we all know that Jojo was a photographer of everything. He took pictures, like he did all types of photography. And one of the types of photography he took was,
In church.
you know. So
Trust
there
me,
was,
I was guilty of that too. That's what he said. But
yeah,
it's funny how God came into both our lives, because from where we started to the men we are today is just like two different people.
right. So those pictures, like as and he would take pictures anywhere, clubs, parties,
Beach.
everywhere. So little by little, he started turning those jobs down. He started
Same here.
saying, "Okay, I can't take pictures in these clubs no more. All they're doing is smoking and drinking and cursing. I can't take pictures of these girls anymore because like all of this stuff that he was taking those different pictures of. He started little by little, slowing it
Yeah.
down until he just got to a point where like he just like his photography, if he wasn't doing clean photography like weddings and different things like that,
He
he
wouldn't do
wasn't
it.
gonna do it. He lost, I don't say he lost a lot of money, but he turned down a lot of money
Right.
because he just didn't sit well with him to take those pictures or go to those different events. And even up until now, like where he had jobs that he would be at, and he would call me and say, I'm about to leave. And I'm like, "Why? What happened?" "I can't be, I don't like the environment. I don't like
Yeah.
how they are here." And he would literally leave. And sometimes he would even give the people his money back and say, "I have to go. I can't stay here." So his relationship with God
Was more
was very
important.
different. And he did have his own relationship, and he did truly did love the Lord. And to his
Amen.
dying day, the very last prayer that he prayed, and he was like, "God, this is me. It's Joe. You know me." And he was thanking God for what he had done for him, and he was praying for other people. That was the last time I spoke to my husband, when we were on the phone. Like that's when I physically talked to him. We was on the phone, and he was praying, and he wasn't praying for himself. He was thanking God for what he had done, and he was praying for other people.
Wow.
Yeah, he was one of the few people that could understand like my journey, because same thing. I stopped shooting. What I was most known for was obviously the models and the women, and I lost so much money too. And Joe would be like, "Don't worry, God's gonna provide. God's gonna open up other doors. You're doing amazing things." And he would always encourage me and laugh, like, cause he go, "We went from nightclubs to church pool, purpose." And I'm like, "Well," I said, "God had a calling, and it's ironic again, like I said. Well, I said we twins, we got the same birthday, so he picked both of us."
Yeah.
But before we let Rhonda go, of course, we're trying to bring as much awareness, for the family, to try to see if, anyone would like to be a blessing. Could you share your Cash App or any way that people could donate to make sure that Joe and you and the kids are good?
Sure. My Cash App is $ Rhonda, Ronda Rogers 39.
Well, first of all, I want to say, thank you again. I know this is difficult, and we appreciate you calling in, and of course sharing, your stories about Joe, and even like the personal stuff. Because again, everything I know is still fresh. So we do appreciate you for taking the time to call in and just telling us all that. But our prayers are you and the kids and the family. And if you need anything, please don't hesitate to call or text.
Tell her to say the Cash App one more time.
Oh,
I want to pin it.
yeah.
The cash
Yeah, one more time,
is
please.
Rhonda, Rogers, Rogers 39.
Got it.
Thank you guys again so much for this time and this opportunity. And again, just the amount of love and support that you have all shown me, you know, throughout this time. And I'll just ask that you just continue to keep me and the kids in prayer. And again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank
We
you.
love
No,
you.
thank you. We love you. And we'll
Love
be
you.
in touch. All right. And I'll send you
Okay.
when everything is done. I'll send it to you. Have a great day. God
Awesome.
bless you.
God bless,
Thank
Ron.
you. You
Bye,
too. God bless
Rhonda.
you all. Bye.
So you have any other stories you'd like to share, Tiger?
Man, I can't even think right now. I'll be honest with you, bro. I was just saying right before we started the podcast, so much you be wanting to say, and then when the moment comes, sometimes you just get, your lines get blurred.
I
But
love
I would
what
say, go ahead. But I was just gonna say, be honest with you, Joe and Dave, like shout out to Dave Robertson, Jojo brother, like for real, like they showed me so much different things. You know what I'm saying? As like I say, even though I was a musician, we all was learning at the same time of certain things, and it was never a selfish moment.
right
You know
or
what I'm saying?
jealousy or
Yeah.
nothing like that.
If Joe was shooting somewhere
always
like at a
support.
certain spot, and he's like, yo, I might go to VA with Teddy. You want to come? Let's roll. You know what I'm saying? He was always that type of brother, like, yo, come with me, come with it. And not only because I was driving, because sometimes we'd catch the bus to New York. You know what I'm saying? It was the fact that we was always together. He was showing me things, introducing me to people. He'll always be like, yo, this is my man Tiger. He gonna be the next Teddy Riley. This is my man Tiger. He could play. Yo, this is my man. He can sing. And I was like, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, that's why from JoJo I met so many people. One of the main people I met, I hopefully he get a chance to call in, is Dwayne Coles, who from Patterson, who's a video director. And when he introduced me to Dwayne Cole, my world opened up, because Dwayne Cole, like I say, because of JoJo, they started doing videos. I was, as a, what you want to call at the time I was dancing, doing singing. I went from that, working behind the scenes, knowing about video cameras, photography, but that wasn't my thing. But it's just fact, I was just trying to use any lane to get
Right,
there,
to get
because I
on.
loved entertainment world. But with that being said, man, Joe, like I said, never selfish, cool guy from day one. We've been like, like you say, you know what it was. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see you guys all the time. And same thing like what you said earlier. Every time I go by his house, I would see you. Downstairs in the studio.
And like you said,
And then you said about the t-shirts. I forgot about that part. I was like, oh my God, that's right. Because every time you walk in, you would just see all the press machines and all this stuff. Yeah.
It's like a workhouse, like a warehouse in there.
Like little miniature Chinese factory.
I love what you guys said though, like how you said once you came to Christ, how you let certain types of pictures go and shooting for people. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that he changed our lives as well, because Jojo did photography for me for years, for probably almost 20 some years. He did photography, and I remember when you asked Rhonda, the change took place. Did she see a difference? I know I did. I know you did. I know you did. I know I did, because I wanted him to do a photo shoot for me. And he was like, look, I'm going to tell you right now, I can't do all that risky stuff no more. I can't do this and this and that. I wasn't that bad, but we would go to Asbury Park. We would go to like Orchard Beach. We would do all kinds of photo shoots. Myself, Nikki, a few other, like those were his long standing. You remember Nick
Yep.
was with him for years, forever, And we would all go exy. All of us, we would be out there, and it was just pretty girls on the beach. We just had fun and sunning and stuff like that. But JoJo, when he chose God first, when he made God his first love, I'll say it like that, everything else fell away, and he was unapologetic about it. Like, look, if you have this, and that, I won't be doing that. If you have this, or that, or you need that, I won't be doing that. Like, I'm telling you right now. But I could find somebody else for you that might do it, but I can't be the person that do it. And part of it, I have to hold it to where it is. Here's like, one, I'm not taking any kind of films that disrespect my wife. And I'm not taking any kind of photos that disrespect God anymore at this point. He's like, when you know better, you do better. And I was like, oh, okay, like, we good. Like, I wasn't going to actually go over the edge anyway. But, like, it's all good. But I love that. Like Rhonda said, he took a stand with what he wore. He didn't let anybody tell him. But he took a stand for God too. He didn't let nobody sway him. You know, he always, I appreciate that so much. People that can dance to the beat of their own drum without being persuaded to follow the masses. And he never, like she said, she couldn't have said it better. He never followed the masses. But I appreciated that he took a stand, and that even in his taking a stand, he had the certainty that his friendship stood on such a firm foundation that he could take that chance and nothing would be lost. You know what I'm saying? And that God would provide. So I love that about Jojo. I sharing everybody's sentiments. I cannot believe he is gone, but I think that he would be so proud of all of us today because he knew I was a waterhead. I'm like, I don't know why you wouldn't have left because this right here ain't even right. But, you know, God knows best, you know, and his ways are not our ways. But I thank God for the life of JoJo. I thank God for even trusting us with his life. I thank him for trusting us to have these relationships with him. And in these days that we have had the time to reflect since his passing, it has brought me that much closer to my loved ones, to my friends, and to God. So I thank JoJo for that. Everything has its reason for why it happens. And though we may not understand, God does, you know.
And I reiterate, he was like one of the few people that can understand because, like, again, he know me from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So when when we found God, and again, like everybody's like, bro, like business is business, church is church, and I'm like, nah, I can't do that. And Joe would always tell me like, nah, he said, just stay on the course. Again, you're working now with the kids and stuff like that. The last thing you want is somebody's mom that is interested in doing the youth program, and then they see nothing but like naked women or things of that magnitude because they won't respect your craft and stuff like that. Hold on, I think we had a caller to verify.
What's up, DC? This Tiger.
What's up, Tiger?
All is well, my man. I was just giving them a brief of how you and I met through JoJo, even though we from the same town, the same area. I was telling
Across the street from each other.
how a big impact he was in our lives. But I wanted you to share your story and, you know, put some light on this situation about JoJo.
My story. Oh, so my story or my relationship to
Your
JoJo.
relationship, some
Okay.
memories. You know, Felix,
Okay.
you know,
Give us a little bit of everything if it's okay.
Okay. Okay, absolutely. So me and JoJo, Fly Reborn, we go way, 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 way back because we're from the same. We grew up in the project together. I was building one, he was building four. You know, when you grow up together. Sorry, but I was just walking around. When you grow up together, you sort of grow up together. So you sort of know everybody, you know their family, they know your family type thing. So we did everything together that a lot of people. So I was just getting my jogging. We did a lot of things that teenagers do, you know, growing up. We grew up in the hip hop era and the beginning of hip hop. So at one point, we was hanging together every day. It was like a group of us, maybe like close to 10 of us, you know, not a gang because we wasn't into that type of lifestyle. But at one point we formed a rap group, right? Kid Flash, the Almighty Fly MCs. So we did that. We did that for a while. Then we started getting into regular teenage activities, going to different towns, trying to date girls, having guys chase us out of the cities.
Was he wearing cowboy boots that day?
Nah, not yet, buddy. So what it was, we, you know, because we had a rap group, you know, that was sort of like, I don't want to use the word gang, but it was a unity, you know, when you have different teams. I'm gonna call it a team. Yeah. So you have teams that sort of battle other teams. Then you have those same teams also have a little fake beef on the streets.
A little rivalry.
Like, right, you know, a little rivalry, but that's in every town, right? Like the east side can't go to the west side, north side can't go to the south side. Yeah. So for us, it was very much that, but it was also the bridge that separated up the hill, down the
Down the
hill.
hill, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we did a lot of that. We got into a lot of fights. Luckily, some of us were martial art guys. One memory, memory is a couple of them. One memory that that was sort of funny is so we went to Hackensack. There was a bunch of us. We went to Hackensack to flirt with girls in the Hackensack projects. So, because we sort of knew some of the girls, knew some of the guys. So then a big fight broke out, right? Because we was in another town. We was in messing with their girls and, that type of thing. But again, we knew this guy, Rod, over there. We had a few friends over there. And before you know it, it was like the whole project was after us. So some of us was fighting in the streets. Some of us was running into buildings. And, some of the people hiding us in their apartments. Like, it was crazy. But, of course, we're fighting back. So it wasn't like we're these, like, punks, so to speak. So we get back to Patterson. And now we go by Building 4 and sitting on the benches, chilling, talking to the Downings. The Downings was this popular family in the project. And who's sitting there? Jojo. Joe. So there were many incidents like that. There was an incident in the skating ring next to the project. So Jojo was always like the fly guy, the nice dresser. Me and him used to have the wave battles. Who got the better waves? Because JoJo had the nice hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So girls really, really liked Joe. Like Joe, I don't know no one that really has anything bad to say about JoJo.
Right.
Exactly.
Because what are you gonna really say? He wasn't a troublemaker. You know what I mean? Whatever. So we all grew up the same, but when you get to a certain age group, especially after you graduate high school or when you get in your later teens, you start going in different directions. So I sort of went to college, but I would still come, because I went to Winter Patterson, so I would still come down there often, me and Kid Flash, which is Randy. So we always maintained a relationship. Then I got married, went to New York. I'm not giving my bio. And it'll show you the Tiger and the JoJo affiliation. So then after college, I went to do the acting thing. Then I went to film school. After film school, I started doing videos. So in the videos, I tell people about this all the time, how your friends sort of help your life in your career. Tiger, JoJo, a couple of people from the project would always come work on my really low budget music videos. Until the big one started. And they was, especially Tiger. Tiger really, I don't know if Tiger want to tell you how he later went on and became who he is now, but it all came from the music videos. But JoJo was and then so what happened on the sets is JoJo got a strong interest in photography. Right, him, Dave, my boy Flash, Randy, and then that's when he picked up the camera, and he used to take this, behind the scenes shots and all that. And next thing you know, that became who he was known as and still known as. I used to joke with him and call him Flaheem the photographer, because Dave became that way too. They really got heavy into photography. So I really don't I got some other memories of JoJo, but that's all, teenage stuff.
Do you remember any of the raps y'all used to say?
I remember when JoJo had one that, I don't remember, other than it was like a Flaheem Ray Vaughan. I can't remember it. But so it was me, JoJo, his brother David, the guy I keep mentioning, Randy,
yeah.
we call him Kid Flash. So it was Randy, Dave, JoJo, me, and this guy, Jeff Carmichael. And Jeff Carmichael he later went to the service, and then he became
A big,
If you ever heard that song, Mr. Vane, which was really big
yeah,
back at MTV and all that, Jeff started doing those type of
dance records.
yeah, dance records. He became very, very big. And then at one time he was like involved with you guys, right, Tiger? Like
Yeah,
you and
yep.
Dave in there with the equipment and stuff, right? So that's why I was sort of I came late to his wake. So I purposely came late to JoJo's wake because I'm still digesting it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I got a friend, we call him Ratsy B, his name Ricky. When I first told him, he did not believe it at all.
same here, bro.
He's taking it harder than I am. Um, yeah, he's taking it harder than I am. He may call in because he's aware of it. But he was also part of our group as well. He went in and out. Sometimes he's part of our group. Sometimes he's part of the rival group. But you know, we all literally knew each other since elementary school. The last time I saw JoJo physically, I was in New York, um, going through an interesting time in my life. And I had called JoJo, and he was on his way to New York. And then we met up in Starbucks, and I want to say that was 2004, 2005-ish. And then I saw him later, maybe 2006 or so. I was with Randy. Randy was back in town because Randy was in Texas. And he was like, yo, I want to take you to meet someone. And I was with a girl I was dating at that time, so Randy was with us. So we went, I think we went to Passaic. And we met on like a weird street, not like a dark alleyway or nothing like that, just like an off street. And there was a car parked there, and out walked JoJo. And I hadn't seen JoJo at that point, other than, in the early 2000s. I hadn't seen JoJo in probably maybe 20 years. Maybe 20 years. So the last time I physically spoke to him, my brothers was buying hoodies from him. I think he had these hoodies that was saying CCP.
CCP
Yeah,
legend.
yep.
Yeah.
Right. So I called JoJo up and I was like, yo, where my hoodie at? Joking with him. And he was supposed to make it for me, and then, I didn't hear from him for a while. But that was it. And that was not too whenever he was making those hoodies is when the last time I spoke to him on the phone. But physically seeing him, I haven't seen him since the early 2000s. But when you grow up with someone, you can talk, like even with Tiger. Like me and Tiger can go years without talking to each other, and we'd jump on the phone like we talked to each other yesterday. Like Tiger called, what up, Dig? Or what up, Tiger? You know what I mean? It's like it picks right back up because that relationship and that bond is there. So back to the wake, I purposely didn't want to see JoJo in a casket. So I stayed in the back. I came in late on my Kaiser Sose thing. So I came in late. A lot of people didn't know I was there. I saw Tiger when he was leaving. That's sort of my MO. But I refused to go up to that casket and all that because I did not want to see that reality. Yeah. So when Tiger sent me what he sent to me about this podcast, even the picture of JoJo hit me different. It really hit me different. But when I found out from my youngest brother because he had texted me, and then like that day, my phone was blowing up with people that I'm still in contact with from Patterson. So I'm still processing it. I'm sort of in denial. You know what I mean? A part of me is in denial because some things is just like untrue to believe. So every time I think about it, and it affects me in a way because, we're all getting older. So it brings that into reality as well. I didn't know JoJo was older than me, though. That's ironic. I always thought he was like 2 to 3 years younger. So that was very interesting. But that's my take on JoJo. We got in a lot of fights. Not him and I. Teenage stuff, fighting people together. We did a lot of stuff together. Did a lot of. He used to come up to my college when I was at Wayne Patterson. He'd come up sometimes and stay with me at the dorm. JoJo was a ladies' man. The girls love JoJo because he dressed nice, smooth talker. He's not a troublemaker. Dave isn't either though, so they're like really quiet guys. Yeah, so I can't disclose other stuff because other stuff is other stuff. But yeah, that's my take on JoJo. Like he's definitely gonna be intensely missed. Yeah, and I'm still trying to process it because he was, like I say, he was part of the core group. It's almost like I can literally call him my brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can literally call him my brother. Because him and I, as well as a few others, when you got those close friends, they sort of know you better than, and sometimes you share certain stuff with them that you don't even share with your own brothers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like when your brothers become teenagers and older, they go live their own life separate from you. You just see them in passing,
Right.
walking in and out of the house or sleeping in the same house.
So true.
But
The stories.
so I was with JoJo way more than I was with my brothers. Because that's how we do with our friends, right? We spend all our times with our friends. So yeah, man. Yeah. I'm really good at faking like something doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to process JoJo's situation, I try to avoid even thinking about it.
Same here, bro.
But how did you meet JoJo, Philly?
He asked me.
Now I feel like I'm doing an interview, right?
So, oh man, I mean, I stated that in the beginning of the podcast, but I met Joe when I first moved to Patterson when I was 21, and
where were you living on that? Were you living on the east side?
I was living on North 9th.
Oh wow.
Yeah, North 9th. I
Okay.
lived on North 9th. I lived on 382 Ellison, and then I also lived on down 22 Fair Street. That was my first loft.
Okay.
Where I wouldn't say it was a photo studio, but it was like my first loft, and it was right next to the fish market where they used to do the fashion shows and Washington. And they had the dance studio upstairs.
Yeah.
That was my
Oh,
neighborhood.
that Kevin had. The Kevin had.
Yeah. So I was literally right around the corner, and that way, we would always like recruit models and things like that. But Joe always just taught me like the fundamentals of photography, like especially like location photography. And then we just started doing parties, nightlife, and all those things. And like I said earlier, man, he even made me conscious with like getting rid of pork. I didn't eat that in 30 years because of JoJo. And
JoJo was a 5%. He was a 5% at one point.
Yeah,
Too.
he told me. Yeah, he told me.
Yeah.
And
I've literally known JoJo since elementary school.
Wow.
So there's not too much I don't know about him other than his family life, meaning when he got married and all that stuff. Because that's sort of when we sort of lost contact. But everything else growing up, I was obviously because we was friends growing up, you see everything they go through.
I'm
Even hey Tiger, this is an in joke.
Okay.
And I don't know if I should touch it, right, Tiger? Even the Ted situation.
Hey, listen,
Tiger,
that's why I just say the location. I ain't say the name. I just say the location. I just said Delaware.
It's funny when you was talking about earlier your story about the projects in Hackensack. Was that Newman Street projects?
Say that again?
When you said about that fight earlier in Hackensack, was that Newman Street projects?
In Hackensack.
I don't know the name. I don't know.
Or was it Central Ave? Because I lived on Newman Street.
Listen, the one by the railroad track.
Central Ave.
Central Ave.
Nah,
Yeah.
That's
And
Central.
the reason I know is because one of the dudes, they was jumping him. It was literally like maybe 10 of us. and the whole project was against us. It was like the Warriors. Like,
Wow.
like
Wow.
they came out of nowhere,
That might have been
and we're
Essex.
running, we're scattering. This guy Andre Douglas and Dooley was a good friend
Yeah,
of our
Dooley
Sid.
big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dooley Big.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Yeah, so Andre Douglas and Dooley hitting somebody with a 2x4, somebody over on the railroad tracks. The guys are stopping them out. I forgot who that was. I know I hit a car. So it was crazy. But the funny part is, when we get home, Jojo on the bench chilling. Jojo always seemed to be able to get out of anything.
Yes.
But like I said, I don't know anyone that has anything to say bad about JoJo. 'Cause
Not at all, my brother. Not at all.
What would that bad be? He wasn't he wasn't a thug. He didn't abuse women. You know what I mean? So what would that be? Because usually when you gotta say something bad about somebody, other than everybody got character flaws, right? Nobody was created to be perfect, so we all got character flaws and evolution and things we have to grow into. But even with that, I never heard anybody say something bad about it. Of course, when you got brothers have conflict. You know what I mean? Jojo and Randy used to beef a lot, and I'll be the middle guy. Like, can we get along? Like that type of thing. But those are words. Those are words. I don't know. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
Now, brothers and family fight all the time, bro. But
yeah, me and JoJo used to have our little things. You know what I mean? But those are brother. Yo, I'm DJing at the. We used to have a lot of basement parties when we was young. Right? People call it black. Matter of fact, we had one in the towers in Building 4, I think it was. One of those, and I was DJing, and then Joe pushed me so he could DJ, and then we got into some word. And then we laughed about it afterwards, because I was 730. I was sort of crazy back then. But other than that, that's just like arguing with your brother. You know what I mean? Like, yo, why you got on my sneakers? Those my sneakers. Take my sneakers off. Like those type of arguments. But yeah, man. Yeah, it's a tough one, bro. It's a tough. But what I was blown away with is I didn't know when I was at the wake and I heard that he was in the hospital. I really got. Let me take the word really. I got disappointed that I didn't know about that. Maybe I wasn't supposed to. Maybe that was like for close friends and family. But I didn't know he was in the hospital.
But it was very fast too, so don't feel any type of way.
What's fast? What is your definition of fast?
It all happened fairly quickly. It did.
What is fairly quickly?
Like within a week and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because he was sick at home, and then
I didn't know. So I was talking to my friend. It's a guy called Rob Artist and Dennis Troy Patterson. Those are the second people that called me. Yeah, so when Rob and Troy called me about it, that first my brother texted me, and within minutes, Troy and Rob called me together. And well, Tiger, you know both as well, obviously. And then when something happens to somebody, I never care about the why. Because it's like, what are we gonna like correct that?
Yeah,
but I get it, people curiosity, right? So I spoke to them maybe the next day after the wake. And because Rob sent me, prior to that, Rob had sent me pictures maybe months ago prior to that of him, and he said, yo, check your WhatsApp. And it was a picture of him and JoJo. That was before that situation happened. And I never saw JoJo with a beard. So it took me a while to figure out who that was. And then I was like, who is that? And then he's like, he said he's your best friend. And I'm like, my best friend? I don't know who it is. And then I sent it to somebody else. Or I sent it to this guy, Dre. Dre is he's an Anthony Barber. Anyway, so Dre grew up in the projects. He went back and forth between the projects in California. So I sent it to Dre. He knew. Soon he got the picture. He said, "Oh no, that's Jojo." Um, yeah. So when Rob saw him, because Rob saw him often, and Rob was like, "Yo, when I saw him, he never looked unhealthy."
Right, he didn't.
Exactly. That's why
Yeah,
I guess that's why it was
man.
shocking to everybody. You know.
Yeah, man.
Thinking of an eye, bro. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it really, and that's what me and Rick. That's how Rafter be. Because Rick grew up in North Third, but everybody in that area, from North Third
Behind the
up to
projects.
North 11, they all considered themselves from the project.
Project.
So,
Because the majority of them hung at the project. Even like Levi, not really Chauncey, but Levi
yeah,
considers himself from the Levi Little from Blackfeet.
Blackfeet,
I'm
yeah.
only saying it to them Paganel. So they all consider themselves from the project. If you from down the hill, you consider yourself from the project.
right.
Yeah, Chanel.
So I was gonna say to you, we loving all of this because
Who is this? This is wife? This is
no,
wife?
No, this
Ah,
Chanel.
okay.
no, this is Chanel. But I would
Okay.
say just to keep the line open because we have so many more people in queue.
Oh,
I'm
I am
enjoying you.
so sorry.
No, I
I
wanted to
am
say
so
no
sorry.
need to apologize. We're grateful, DC, for you to share the stories.
Thanks
And we need to get you down here to the
to the
to the
podcast.
podcast, DC.
Now, where is this? Where is this?
Lyndhurst.
Media City Studio. It's in Lyndhurst, New Jersey.
Right off of Route
Because
3.
I live in Jersey City, so is it Lyndhurst.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm about 15, 20 minutes from
Not
Jersey
too
City.
far.
Not too far if it's
Yeah,
no traffic.
I know. Yeah, I know what Lyndhurst is. So tell me, we'll talk about that at another time because I'm interested in that for many reasons. But I forgot that we're on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
No
I'm
worries.
glad.
No
I'm
worries.
glad she reminded me.
Yeah,
'Cause
JoJo
now
has that
you-
effect.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We all sharing stories, and of course, we're grateful to hear every single one of them. So we thank you for
Right,
taking the
right.
time to call
Absolutely.
in and
Absolutely.
sharing your experience with him. You have an amazing day, my brother. God bless. All
Be in
right.
touch,
You as
D.
well. Thank
right.
you. Thank
Take
all
care,
of you.
DC.
All right. Bye bye.
Next call.
So we have our next caller, Jamie and Q. Hey, Jamie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So tell us what you want to tell us about JoJo. What's your tribute you want to share?
Oh, well, without getting emotional, because we're still processing this. Um, JoJo was a really great man and a great friend to me throughout the years. He was my daughter's godfather and just an all-around great man. And one thing I share about JoJo was that, he follows his passion in photography and he really enjoyed it, and he taught me a really lesson that I never really thought of while he was here, but once he went to be with the Lord, now I'm processing and learning this lesson of just learning and loving your craft. And now that he's no longer with us, it's putting me in a space where now I'm trying to picture my daughter's life without him. Right, my daughter's 27 years old. He's been a big part of her life since she was born. And now in this space, we're trying to picture our life without JoJo.
Right.
And it's just a great space that, we're still affected, trying to navigate his wife, who is my cousin, his kids, who are my cousins, his family. We're all trying to navigate the space of just picturing life without Joe, because he was such a big part of everybody's life. Such a great man, such a great person, such a great friend. Just happy that while he was still here, he was able to build and strengthen his relationship with the Lord and fall in love and have more kids and travel the world, and just a great man. So I'm just thankful for you guys putting this together for him.
Of course. My condolences, first of all, and I know you're saying you're still processing this. Is there one thing, one fond memory you'd like to share about JoJo?
Oh,
Something make us
it's so
laugh?
many. It's so many. I just, even when you said that, I just hear JoJo like, come on, Jade, come on, Jade, come on. Um, I just want to share just laughter. JoJo just always provided a good, safe space for people. You know, through all conversations, he's gonna always make you laugh and leave you with laughter and leave you in a good space, something positive, and so that's just how we're gonna remember it. Yep.
Well, no, I thank you for sharing. I know you're still processing it. We grateful that you took the time to call in and express what he meant to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys for doing this for him.
Of course,
Long live JoJo.
it's an honor. He was an amazing man, like you said,
Yes.
a mentor, a great human being. So definitely, I mean, like I stated earlier, I mean, I did give him his flowers while he was alive, but still need to still give it to him, even though he's no longer here with us.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Jamie. We love you.
Thank you guys. You have a great day.
All
God
right,
bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
It's crazy how everybody, I don't know if you can see it yet, but everybody that was friends with JoJo has a heart like JoJo, right? And you think about Tiger, you think about you think about me, even Jamie. Jamie love everybody. Like Jamie is very loving, like very kind. Rhonda is very kind. Rhonda don't play, but she is very kind. But everybody is like an outstanding representation of the fabric of JoJo. It's crazy. Like I never had a fight with him, not one.
I never even seen him angry.
I never
Not
even
one.
got mad at him.
I see him. I see him. I call it fake mad. I see him get fake mad. Like, come on, man. Like,
It's fake
that's it. That was it. That was it. That was the most he had. But other than that, JoJo, he always led with love. Nah, man. Like
Oh man.
he had a he had a whole.
Now, when you
nother-
said that earlier, I started tripping because you sounded exactly like
Yeah.
him. Exactly like
I
him.
started crying, but I was like, listen.
Yeah, I was trying to hold
I
that
know he
in.
would be. I'm telling you, he would be so proud of me because it has taken everything. Rhonda almost broke me a couple of times, but it's taken everything because I don't know about you guys, but I have good days and bad days because
Of course.
it's just
Grief hits like that.
yeah,
It's
it's
different.
the processing it. Like the mind, I think more so you end up crying because you don't want to accept it, but then you're like, I have to, and it's
Reality, especially
such a
I hate to say it, but especially but someone who's a believer,
Right.
You understand it. It's not easy, but the process we all got to go through it. But I just want to ask you a quick question, both of you guys. Do you remember the last time you seen Joe?
yeah.
What was the long?
Yeah, like Joe, he had ordered ginger shots. He loved my ginger shots, and he was like, sis, I gotta get some ginger shots. He's like, I gotta clear up this mucus. I gotta do this and that. He's like, cause yo, it bring up all the mucus. He loved to talk about the mucus coming up. I was like, yo, that's so nasty, but okay. But he was like, I gotta get the ginger shots and everything. He's like, I'm gonna get the big one. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And it's so weird because ironic, I keep thinking about that day, like over and over in my head. Because I went to his house. I went to drop it off, and typically when I ring the doorbell, somebody comes right away. But they didn't come right away. And like I'm a writer, so I pay attention to everything. Like the details is in everything. Like the way the wind blow, just everything. But I stood on the porch and I waited a while. And in my mind, I'm like, I know JoJo knew I was coming. I was like, you know what? It's cool. I said, I'm going to go back to the car and call and see if he wants me to just leave it or whatever. But as I was walking down the stairs and walking away, the light came on. I said, oh, okay. I heard the dog, but I'm like, the light came on. I said, oh, so he is here. So I turned back around, to walk back up there. And he was like, hey, sis. In his usual way, he said, hey. And I was like, hey, JoJo, what's going on? So he made his way down the stairs, gave me a hug and everything. Then he got his ginger shots and everything. And he was like, everything's good? How the boys doing? I'm like, they good. And we chatted for like a few minutes. And
And that was like pretty much almost it. But JoJo, like I leave that with him. It was like a moment where like, you know how you leaving and that person leaving like, all right, see you later, and you don't look back. We both look back, but we didn't say anything.
Wow.
We didn't say anything, but it was such a pause. And then he said, "You good, sis?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Later." I said, "Later." And so I'm almost at my car. He's like, "Love you, sis." He had a way of always telling you that. I was like, "That's what's up, JoJo." But I didn't say love you back. Like usually I say it back, but I'm like, well, I say that's what's up. That was ignorant. But like, like, you don't really
Spare the
think
moment,
about
yeah, you
it.
think, yeah,
You
something's
don't really
going
think
on.
about it because I always would say it back. I was like, that's what's up, JoJo. I was like, that was so ignorant. But I'm like walking to the car like, do, like not knowing like, because you always think you got another chance.
Yeah.
You always think you got another chance. And that was like the real gut punch to me in that moment.
Get that phone call, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm driving off, and I went on about my way, and it was like that whole moment. It has made me so cognizant now,
plays back.
and like I'm just so since his passing, I just became so emotional. Like everything matters. Like so, not even emotional, but sensitive, extremely sensitive. Everybody like, oh my God, like just at the drop of a dime, it's like every little moment matters. Like now you trying to bottle it up with everybody. Come on, I got this one with Tiger, I got this one with Felix, and you try not to be like that, but it just teaches you to value life and just how precious it actually is.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny you said that. Before I answer your question, like I said earlier, the last thing he said to me is, "I love you more," and I'm like, "I love you too, bro." So it gave me a sense of peace knowing that those was the last things we said to one another. But to answer your question, Tiger, it's like a two. It was went to the church to visit him after service. That was one of the photos that they had shared at the funeral, and he was talking about how Dylan started collecting Funkos. So I'm like, bro, come to the studio. He's gonna lose his mind.
Right.
Yeah, he's gonna lose his mind,
For
and
real.
then I'm gonna bless him. I said, I'm gonna bless him. And he came. He brought Dylan. Dylan lost it, and then I gave him a bag to go home. And
I almost lost it in here.
yeah, and that was unfortunately the last time I saw him in person, outside of FaceTime, of course. But that was maybe 6 to 8 weeks before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we spoke on FaceTime because he would always call me from work like, yo, show him the studio, show me a collection, or send me pictures of all the people that you shot, so I could show my friends at work because they don't believe me, you know what I'm saying? And he was just always so proud of me, and I was always grateful that, that he cared that much, again, from being transparent, from someone that was like a student to him to now like the teacher,
master.
the teacher admiring his student
Right.
and bragging about his student, you know what I mean? And I guess that just always resonated with me. So, one thing I did want to say is, unfortunately, like telling that story about Mike Tyson without him, it really
Don't seem the same, right?
not at all, because, we should have been doing that together, and I was just like, that's why I always tell people from the bottom of my heart, stop putting off things with people you love.
Mm-hmm.
We always think we have more time until there isn't anymore. I thought we'd still sit here in the studio mic'd up, telling stories and giving God the glory, but now I'm telling those stories without him. And JoJo was just more than a legend in the game. He was a legend in life. You live with a purpose, with faith, and with so much love. And today, on Legend in the Game, we gave you your flowers again, my brother.
Yes.
So because of you, you gave us all so many memories with you, bro. And this one's for you, Joe. Thank you for everything. Let's celebrate the life and legacy of a legend in the game and a Patterson legend, Jojo Robinson.
Thank you, Joe.
We love you, bro.
We love you.
R.I.P., my man.
Thank you for checking out Legend in the Game on Media City Radio. Much love. And again, our prayers is with Rhonda and the kids. And if you can, please donate to a Cash App. Much love. God bless.
Rhonda Robinson, 39, and that's the Cash App.
Would you like to say anything as we close out? Would you like to say a prayer or anything?
Yeah, we could pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for bringing us all together. We thank you for every life that was touched by Joe. We thank you for every voice, every that voice that contributed. We thank you for every ear that heard. We thank you for every eye that saw. And we ask you that we take this message abroad, not just in our heart and let it fall on deaf ears, but that we show love, that we carry love, and that we become love day by day as we grow stronger in you and the purpose that you designed us to walk in. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Perfectly said, my sister. God bless.
God bless.